again?
Well, for the 4 trillion naira ransom being demanded, of course, as a journalist, I've seen it on the media, just like you too. You did too. So that's what I can say for that. And for the aspect of journalists reportedly, I'll put it in quote, reportedly arrested. It's not true. I want to clear that. The journalist in question, his name is Godwin Isenyo. He reports for Punch newspaper. He was actually invited by the DSS to, for questioning about a report that was carried by Punch, in which the medium reported that the government was has contracted a negotiator, to negotiate for the release of the student. So the government pointedly, denied that in a statement by the chief press secretary to the governor, talking about Muhammad Lawal, also known as Monash. And the government categorically stated that it has not been the approach of government to negotiate with bandits. It has never done so, and it is not doing so, and it will not do so. However, necessary steps, through the use of the security, are being taken to ensure their quick rescue, and return to their parent. So that's what I can say for now. Godwin is saying himself, the Punch reporter. I called him. I spoke with him that very day. He told me he was invited for questioning, and he was released. And then he was asked to return the following day. I called again to confirm what the situation was. He said the situation was under control. He did not even report the following day. However, the newspaper sent a senior person who would interface on behalf of the medium. So that's what I can say. And that of the issue of the FCT that you raised. Well, FCT is far away, some 2 hours drive from Kaduna, almost 200 kilometers from Kaduna. But of course, activities that have been happening in Abuja, talking about banditry attacks, of course, they inch into Kaduna. For example, 3 weeks ago, at the heat of abductions in Abuja, 2 bandits were cut off in Kaduna from Abuja going to Lagos. Going to Kano. They were cut off. So Kaduna and Abuja, of course, they are connected. They share similar issues of insecurity.
So I will take that. I will take it from you, or I will take it to mean that in Chikun local government area, where we have had several other issues of kidnapping, there's improved security presence. I'll need you to respond to this, but first we'll go for a short commercial. Just stay on the line for us. As soon as we return, we'll get to it.
Okay.
He died of trading himself.
All right, the conversation continues 27 minutes past 8. My guest is Ango Bally. He's a journalist, political scientist in Kaduna State. And, if you go on Facebook, you'd see there we're asking to try and figure out what could be one of the leading causes for the increase in the cases of insecurity in Kaduna State at the moment, and even beyond that, other parts of the north. The idea is, for some people, poor infrastructural development is contributing to the increased insecurity. Do you share that opinion? Do you agree with the idea that poor infrastructural development could be contributed to increased insecurity in northern parts of the country? Well, let us know what you think on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. In the meantime, I'll also play you a recording from the House of Reps member representing Chikun Kajuri Federal Constituency. Now, for those who do not know, Chikun local government area is where we had the kidnap incidents, precisely Gonin Gora and Kuriga. Separate incidents happened in those places 2 weeks apart. So we're going to listen to what Honorable Ekene Adam had to say about the situation. So in my conversation, this was his response when spoken to.
My friend, you want me to talk and I'm talking to you. And what I'm telling you, I will tell you this way. And I think you can use the voice this way. There's nothing to tell you rather than the government, as far as I'm concerned, are doing everything humanly possible to see the people reunite with their loved ones as soon as possible. This is security matters. This is security issues. So besides, I don't have to say security matters outside this way. So I'm not the spokesperson to the government, but I believe this is my constraint. So the major problem is we talk and we let the cat out of the bag. That's why we're suffering it this way. So what I believe the government are doing everything humanly possible, I've told you, to make sure they get them released back to their family. And I visited my people, yes. I went to the scene, yes. So and I believe people just have to be patient. So I have nothing to tell you more than this. I'm not the spokesperson to the government, but I've told you the government are doing everything humanly possible to make sure people get back to their family, unite with their family. This is new government in Kaduna. This is not the government you used to know. So I have nothing more than this. Thank you and God bless you, sir.
All right, so there we heard from the Honorable representing Chikun, and that is his position about the situation at the moment, not giving out too much, saying it's a sensitive matter because of its nature, and information given out could lead to, halting plans of the government or sabotaging efforts the government is making to ensure the rescue of those abducted. We'll go back to my guest, who is still with us over the phone, Ango Bally. Thank you very much, Mr. Bally, for staying on the line for us.
My pleasure, please.
All right, so quickly, before we take questions and calls from our listener, there you heard Honorable Adam and his position. Some people would begin to also want to understand, okay, what is the level of security present in these areas where we've had these issues, not the first time, not the second time? Is it accessible? Don't we have police stations in those areas? In fact, there are people who question the possibility of moving over 200 people through that local government without any obstruction of any kind. Don't we have roadblocks? I mean, over this part of the country, you have roadblocks, you have checkpoints, you have these things. And so people question the reality of it when they hear that over 200 people, especially school children, you would imagine the difficulty and what it would take to gather all of those kids, and then the trucks that you might need to put them into, and then before you start moving them, or even if they have to move on foot, However it is, somehow many believe that security operatives should have gotten a wind of what was happening, and if not some of them, at least efforts would have been made to, hinder the process. So what can you tell us about security present in those local government areas where we've had this sort of situation?
Okay, just like you've had the comment or the response from the member of the House of Reps, security matters. People are being careful on what they say and how they say them, in the sense that if you are not careful, you can those action, whatever you do, can forestall or can affect government effort towards either rescuing the abducted persons, in an incident. And that's why, in the case of the Punch reporter that was questioned, or that was invited for questioning by the DSS, sometimes I feel for the government, they are in a dilemma in such a way that if they do not take any effort about, let's talk about rescuing, which has to do with negotiation, the people will say, if it is the children of the elite, of the governor, or whoever is those in the position of leadership, will they allow them? They will do everything humanly possible to see even whatever amount that is offered, they will go out to pay. Again, if there is a rumor, put it that way, in court, efforts for negotiation, it's the same people that will come again and large and make a critique of the government that paying ransom to bandits is encouraging bandits to be abducting or to engage in more abduction. So the government, to an extent, is in a dilemma. So, however, I would say the effort I've seen that have been demonstrated by the governor to ensure that they are rescued and on time and alive back to their family, it has been so practical. When the incident happened, he rushed, on his trip back from Qatar to Kaduna, and he went to the place, and of course the vice president was informed, and he came again beside the parent of the children. That's what I can say. Now, talking about security present, there is security present in as much as I can say the security can provide. Of course, the security, I would say, is not given an excuse, is overstretched. Now, soldiers are supposed to be in the barracks and, doing what they are supposed to do in their constitutional duties. However, because of incessant attack in different areas, in many areas across the country, so they have been dispatched across the country. So, of course, they have been overstretched. But in Kaduna here, the presence of the security, including the military, the paramilitary, and others, is so prominent, and that's why the attacks, like I said earlier, they are in the outskirts of the.
Do they have police stations or police divisions in those areas? I mean, you have said Chikun local government is pretty
big. In the case, like in the case of Kuriga, I can't say because I have not been there, but based on report that I had, actually the area has deficiency in terms of infrastructural development and all that. In fact, even telecommunication, they are not accessible in terms of mobile communication. Some have to climb hilly areas, trees, before they can get network. They can access network to be able to communicate. So now, in the case of any attack, even how can they, if they have an idea, for example, how can they communicate and get the security informed for preventive measures? So these are some of the issues. But I would say, in terms of security presence, the chief of defense staff, since his appointment, everything had been peace. Relatively, there have been relative return of peace to Kaduna, but the return of this kidnapping and abduction or killings in some parts of the state. I can't say what is it. Now remember, some of these things we have to do some historical or some references. Would it be because of, like, you are trying to infer, is it because of lack of infrastructure and everything? I want to say no, because if it is lack of infrastructure, now if you do the abduction and attack and the killing, how would that pay off? Now, some school of thought have the feeling that these attacks are organized for whatever reason. The people, for whatever reason that some people cannot say. For example, remember during the time of immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari administration, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, they sent a list of alleged financiers of terrorism to the president, for prosecution. But the president did not take that that list serious, even though those who are affected, who are residing in UAE, were prosecuted, and some are serving their prison terms. But the president here in Nigeria did not take the issue serious. So now some are of the view that these are organized and planned attacks, just for whatever reason. Could it be political reason and stuff? We never can know until we get to the root of it. So my appeal, my understanding, or my thinking is that let President Bola Tinubu revisit that list that was sent to the Nigeria by United Arab Emirates about the financiers of terrorism, Boko Haram, whatever, banditry, whatever it is. It is in doing that that we'll get to the root of it. If we don't, it will continue to be a recurring issue, one attack after the other. So that is my own thinking, and a lot of people, they are in that thinking. Even journalists, they are in that school of thought.
Are parents still sending their children to school at the moment, following what has happened?
Of course,
not just in Kaduna now, capital. I'm talking of the other local governments.
Yes, there's relative peace in most of the local government in Kaduna. Of course, with the exception of some, like the attacks, the bandits, they operate through guerrilla approach. One-off attack. They would plan and see where there is probably porous security network and stuff like that. Then they'll plan their attack. So, but in a whole, there's relative peace in Kaduna State.
Okay. All right.
That's what I can say.
We are going to get onto the phone lines and hear from our listener. In the meantime, if you just tuned in, it's the Morning Crossfire. The conversation has been with regards to insecurity in Kaduna and the abduction of the school children. I've been speaking with a journalist and political scientist in Kaduna State, no other than Ango Bally. In the course of our conversation, I've also played you my conversation with the police PRO in Kaduna State, Mr. Hassan, what he said. If you missed it, I'll just go over and play it again, what he said about the situation. And I also had played you my conversation with Honorable Adams, the House of Reps member representing the Chinku constituency, and what he also had to say about the situation. Okay, so before we go on, take the phone calls, or let's just listen again to the police PRO, and then we open the phone lines and hear what your thoughts are.
Good evening, my brother. How is work? Yes, thank you very much. But the government has already spoken. The state government have spoken. In fact, even the presidency have spoken. We have, I think, for me to come out and start saying something different, I think it's not the time. It's not the right time. Now our time is to see how we can rescue these children. It's not everything that will come out on air to say it. And particularly on this very deadly time where our children are still in the captivity. hands of bandits. So ours is to try our best, possible best. All the security agencies have put head together to see how they can rescue these children. So I think it is our best time will be, since they have spoken, I think we don't have to say much about it. Thank you.
All right, so that's the police PRO from Kaduna State and his comments. My guest had also clarified the reports that you might have seen online regarding the alleged arrest of a reporter from the Punch newspaper, who had also said that the government had employed a negotiator to negotiate with the bandits, terrorists, to see that they secure the release of the children, and they said that's not true. It's nothing of such. The government had put out a statement refuting that, and had also said that the man who was said to be allegedly arrested was only called in for questioning. Now, we'll go on to the phone lines quickly, and let's hear what you have to say. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, or you call us on 0817-923-0007. I'll go over those numbers again. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, and 0817-923-0007. On Facebook, it is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH, and we need you to tell us whether you agree with the idea that poor infrastructural development could be contributing to increased insecurity in the northern part of the country. My guest had also highlighted that in some of those local governments, it's as bad as them not even having proper telecom service, so they can't even make phone calls, and it's difficult to make phone calls. And I would quite agree, because I also tried to get in touch with one of the teachers from the school where this incident happened, and it's been a Herculean task to get him over the phone, really difficult. So and that seemed to be the case in other parts, in some local governments that are not really close to the Kaduna metropolis itself. Hence, for some people, the idea is the lack of infrastructure could be contributing. But my guest says he doesn't share that thought. What is yours? Let's find out. We'll start with George. George is calling us from Buguma. George, good morning.
Yes. Andrew, good morning to you.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Yes, Andrew, it is very pathetic and very painstaking that up till now we are still having these issues of kidnapping. This was the first time Nigerians experienced this was during the Jonathan era, when the PDP was jostling very hard to take over power, and many Nigerians thought that it was politically stage managed and all of that. The kidnapping of those girls in Borno State, and up to today, many are still in captivity. It's only few of them that return and reunite with their family, and others are still at large up to date. Now, today we are having this same issue of over 280 something, and before that we have the one of over 200 ID camp women that was also scattered away. Now we ask that we are no leaders anymore in this country. Are they not those who took oath of allegiance to protect life and protect property in this country anymore? That Nigerians will be in this state of insecurity to the point that the hunger we face is as a result of insecurity and banditry in the north, that northerners will not return to farm anymore, and that has also contributed to the hardship. I think that it is as it is written that for whatever a man sow, that he reap. Because
all right, George,
when we begin to experience this is when the APC today, led by the president, we are working very hard to make sure that they take over power. Today now, the power they have taken, but what is the return?
All right, George, thank you. Let's go to Nkoro now. Ida is on the line. Ida, good morning.
Andre Femi, thank you very much. This is my concern. Andre Femi, now, the school, are they at the forest, where there is no houses? That somebody can bring trailer, even if it's not trailer, Okada, will be packing people inside the vehicle, and nobody can call security. Is there no police station there? I didn't know me Barazia, Kaduna, I didn't know me Barazia. My brother, I don't know how to talk. Like, I'm coming to court today, see police people at the waterfront. Before you do anything, they will ask you questions. They don't tolerate any nonsense from your hand. Or they are afraid. Maybe you buy something today, tomorrow you will commit crime, they will hold you, tie you very, very well. So other people will see you, they will tie you, keep you inside some, other people will see you. Now somebody will bring vehicle into a community. There people are staying. You pack over 200 students. Now, brother, this is a political law. I don't know. You should do something about it. People are suffering from hunger. President should do something. No.
All right, Ida, thank you.
I voted for him and tell him God to forgive me today. Because people are suffering every year. Particularly Kaduna. God should save Kaduna. I'm praying. Thank you.
All right, Zion is in GRA. Zion, good morning.
All these are politically motivated. It has nothing to do with infrastructure. Nothing to do with that. In fact, the truth is this. There is a serious implosion among them in Abuja. I want to ask, where is the former Attorney General of the legal aid to the president? Where is the man? You heard the guy say something. The people in UAE have been prosecuted. What about the ones here in Nigeria? My concern is this. Is these innocent people that are being used as a pawn on the chessboard? Human beings being slaughtered, frustrated, raped, and just imagine the trauma we are putting people of your country into. And these people in their down, in their suffering, in their anguish, they will be unleashing of printed words to Nigeria. Now imagine in the next 15 years how the news report will look like. In a shallow grave, 200 bodies were found somewhere in the north in Nigeria. Do you think our children will forgive us? Go to Bayelsa. There are communities in Bayelsa that there is no government present. Do they commit crime? Do they kill people? Come here to be here that you see all the money for. There is no government present here in River State. Do they commit crime? All these are politically motivated. I want to ask, where is the bring back our girls group? Are they no longer existing again? Okay, they can no longer form any group again. Bring back our school children, no one again. Until we start telling ourselves the truth. Not arresting somebody for what? Or she spoke the truth or what? I feel like this because
all right,
of
Zion.
money.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Ada George. Thank you, Zion. Chima on the line. Good morning, Chima.
Good morning, Andrew.
Yep, go on.
Andrew, according to the statement of your guest, I didn't even know that some people have been prosecuted on serving their terms in UAE regarding this finance of terrorism in Nigeria. Then what happens to the list that was sent from UAE to Nigeria? What happened to it? Why is it that the government are not taking actions about it? You understand? Look, everything that is happening in this thing, I don't know, but I think the government may be complacent in this on these attacks and all that, because I don't understand. Your people have been launching this same terrorism in Nigeria, and they sent you the list. Some of them have been prosecuted there after their terms, and we here in Nigeria, where the voting is happening, nobody has been prosecuted. I don't understand the kind of country we find ourselves. I think there is more to this than what we are saying right now. There is more to it.
All right, Chima.
The government must come out clearly to tell Nigerians what are they doing to be able to stop this incessant act on Nigerians. Let me stop here.
All right, Chima, thank you. Okrika, in Okrika, we have Muriel on the line. Muriel, good morning.
Thank you, Ifemi. Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank your guest for the enlightenment. But Ifemi, I've said it over and over again that as long as the Nigerian government keeps mobilizing and politicizing its security, this is just a tip of the iceberg. But it's so unfortunate that it's the children of the poor that are so vulnerable that are experiencing this. And I like what the guest said. He said during the Buhari administration, a list was sent to him. The names of those that sponsoring insecurity that can crumble an economy, that can crumble a nation, bring it down, all their efforts to come to full time. Insecurity, as serious as it is, a list was sent to Buhari, and he ignored it. He refused to name, share, and prosecute those persons. Up to now, those persons are still alive, they are still living, they are still in government. It is such a shame. And I don't think there is no way the current president is not aware of this. It is serious if you want to tackle insecurity, if you ask for that list and begin to prosecute the persons involved. That is the only solution. And it's so shocking to me that such numbers of persons will be transported from one place to another. You think that there are no roadblocks in those communities, nothing, there are no security personnel, nothing on the road, checkpoint. Do they just vanish them from one point to another? It is shocking to me that as long as they continue to criminalize insecurity, politicizing, they're just starting. And to get to all of them virtually.
All right, Muriel, thank you very much. That's too much we can take for the calls on WhatsApp. This one says, this one is an organized crime. Can we consider the logistics involved to move 200 human beings and nobody called the security demanding for 40 trillion? It is either the government doesn't know what is happening at all. Smart from Agri sent that message in. Bako says, good morning. It's very shameful that in a country where school children are being kidnapped on a daily basis, our Inspector General of Police is more interested in tomato and other civil cases. I don't know what you're referring to by tomato and other civil cases. Nigeria is not a serious country. Destiny from Port Harcourt sent that one. It was alleged that the vice president was among those sponsoring Boko Haram. How do you think that the president will handle the situation if that eventually turns out to be true? This is from Debbie. Well, like you said, it was alleged and there's not been proven, and it's not proven factual yet. Mr. Don, we'd have to take another short break. As soon as we return, we'll get your response, Don Bally. So please just stay on the line for us. When we come back after this break, we'll get your response and wrap things up.
Okay.
The show continues after this break. Nigeria Info.
Mr. Don, okay, you heard the callers, and the direction for most people was not people could not really understand how over 280 people would be moved. I mean, it's almost, you begin to wonder how it happened without any sort of interference whatsoever. So I don't know if there's an explanation that you can give in that direction, perhaps how reports on how the children were moved, or if you got reports on how they moved them. How is Chinkun local government? No checkpoints, no roadblocks, no military presence, no police presence, nothing.
Though there has been a communication gap between me and the caller. So I had you mentioned the names of George, Ada, Zion, Chima, and Muriel. I did not hear them. But whatever it is, this you're talking about ideal checkpoints. Of course there are, but like I said, the bandits, they always plan where they see any pause, weak security network, then they will strike. So that's what I can just say now. But by and large, for the banditry, the resurgence of banditry attacks in the part of the country, part of northern Nigeria and other part of the country.
Yeah.
In my own thinking, as putting my political thinking cap, now I will see there seems to be organized terrorism, probably to give a dose of a dose back to President Bola Tinubu on how critically he was when he was in opposition on the government of former President Goodluck Jonathan.
All right, Don Bally,
the kidnap of the Chibok girls.
All right, we have to wrap it up here. Unfortunately, okay. We don't have a lot of time. Thank you very much for making our time to be with us. We'll keep in touch.
My pleasure, please.
All right, we'll go over now to the news at 9. Hello Port Harcourt will come up afterwards with Jude. Do stay with us.
It's 9 o'clock.